Good morning. It's me, Pearl, from Pearl and the Prayers, and this is Tuned in Tarot. And we're about to take a look at the balance between the divine masculine and divine feminine aspects of self, understanding that whatever state we find this energy in, we can expect to see that reflected back to us in our interactions with others, in our external environment, and our ability to manifest things or accomplish things is really affected by the way the energy is inside of ourselves. We have to shift that if we want to see change or make change, etc., etc., etc. Thank you for joining me this morning. We are going to start with divine masculine because he had one card showing, although um, just one. Divine feminine did not show any of her cards today, and I have no idea where I'm going to find this energy. So I'm curious. There's a lot of reversals here. Wow. Okay. Let's get started. So, top of the deck, overall headspace, forefront of divine masculine's mind, the Two of Wands in reverse. We have here from the Cosmic Tarot, we see the divine masculine standing balanced between these two wands. This, of course, is associated with twin flame energy in the collective, but it's a card about a journey. And in the Ace of Wands, you have a desire that springs up from your ego, usually, and then it's your connection with that higher power. That desire is calling you on this journey. So you've accepted the call, and basically you've asked for something that your heart's desiring, something that you want. You make the request, and then you patiently wait, or not so patiently, depending on where you are in the journey. When it's upright, you are in this position of having asked and waiting for it. And there can be some relief there because there's not a whole lot you can do at this point. For others, it's a time of planning and strategizing, depending on the point you are in your ability to surrender to the divine plan. If you have trouble doing that, you're going to be in a planning phase. Um, if you are able to surrender, then you're going to be in a lot more of a general planning phase where you're just sort of planning to receive what it is that you've desired, but you're not really sort of trying to figure out how exactly that will happen. So, divine masculines in the reversal of this energy. To me, as soon as I saw this, I felt this just throwing out all of the plans, no longer trying to plan or do anything of that nature, but just throwing out the plans and surrendering finally to this, to the true nature of this card, which is you've asked and you will receive. And there's really no way for you to figure out exactly how to do that. Just all the things that you were planning before, those things are not relevant anymore. And there's more of a willingness to just go with the flow and stop trying to control by making plans. Then the niggling thought in the back of the mind is the Eight of Pentacles in reverse. So, underlying all divine masculines' thoughts and feelings, there's this worry that not planning, because he's used to planning, that not planning is not working towards this divine feminine energy. So there's a little bit of worry there. There's also this, it's interesting because in this cosmic tarot, we have a feminine who's looking at all of these pentacles. So there could be a feminine energy that interferes with work, or a feeling that the masculine has that work is an interference with his ability to be with the divine feminine, or that the things that he works for, that he plans on, that he tries to like bring to reveal to the divine feminine, don't pan out, like it doesn't work out the way he wants it to. um or that he has been working on something and that the time is ready for him to finally give this thing. So there, anywhere you fall sort of in that, whatever resonates there for you. The first thing on his mind is the Five of Pentacles in reverse. So underlying everything is a Pentacles energy, and the first thing on his mind is a Pentacles energy. We've got earth and fire, a lot of earth and fire in this reading. And so there's a grounding of his desires, a grounding of his passions. The Five of Pentacles, when it's upright, is that card of poverty, of lack mentality. It's usually, it's being left outside in the cold. There's usually like a warm sanctuary that you're wanting to enter, but you're stuck out here in the cold. To be in this reversal is the first thing divine masculine is thinking about is ending this this lack of communication, lack of contact, like the inability to comfort one another, to provide warmth for one another. Divine masculine is really, really determined to end this period of being left out in the cold, or of leaving divine feminine energy out in the cold, and no longer feel that he's not worthy or doesn't have enough. That's what he's been working on, feeling like he has enough to offer this feminine energy. The next thing on his mind we saw yesterday in the reading with Grace Strega, and that was the Fool card in reverse, but it was on the divine feminine's mind, and it was about her being cautious. And I feel like divine masculine is doing the same thing. He is cautiously heading towards this new beginning with the divine feminine, but he's going very carefully because of this Ten of Wands energy, because of this very great burden he's been carrying that he has been reluctant to share with the divine feminine. He's wanting to protect her from the results of what will happen once he puts down this burden. And in this image, the normally we're seeing somebody who's able to carry this burden, but in this image from the Cosmic Tarot, we're actually seeing them at the point where they're no longer able to hold on to this burden anymore. They can't resist this new beginning anymore. Like, it's just impossible. But they want to try to protect themselves and divine feminine as much as they can from the chaos that ensues once these responsibilities and burdens really have been dropped. And then we have the Knight of Pentacles, and it is clarifying this Five of Pentacles in reverse. So we know we have a slow, methodical, careful progression towards ending this state of lack in the divine connection, ending this lack of communication, ending this separation. Slow and steady progress. That's what has been going on. And now we see this wheel. The Wheel of Fortune, which has been around, man, like it has been around for a minute. And we're seeing this divine masculine knowing that it's time, right? That these plans, this cautiousness, this Knight of Pentacles energy, this reluctance to unburden because of this overprotective stuff. It's like he's resisting this turning of the wheel so stubbornly. Look at the body, look at the posture. He's protecting this. He doesn't want anything to mess this up, but it's this energy, it's this protective, slow moving energy, this cautious energy that's causing him to resist this change, this transformation that he's been slowly going through over the past year since the last Lionsgate. Intense and transformative is this kind of a pattern. And he's resisting this final completion of this cycle, the final turning of this wheel. And he knows that he needs to start to go with the flow and surrender to the wheel and change this slow moving energy and start to move swiftly. And again, to see the Two of Wands and the Queen of Swords in reverse is definitely throwing out plans or strategies. It's no longer trying to strategize because realizing that that has really been manipulative, both for himself and for this other energy that he's trying to manifest. But it's caused this defensive energy for both parties. And um, it's the overprotective aspect that has been the most harmful, and just really being afraid of this wheel, not quite trusting that the wheel is turning in his favor, which causes him to strategize and overthink exactly how the best way is to unburden himself with this communication. Um, so that's his head. His head is really kind of struggling there with that. It's that internal struggle, but it's releasing it though, because the first thing on his mind is, I don't want to be in this lack anymore. I don't want to keep anyone out or away from myself anymore. Don't want to feel unworthiness. Wanting this new beginning. It's like the Fool in reverse is right above the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, which is just like being afraid of taking that leap, being afraid of trusting in that wheel, because he's gambled before and lost and caused this energy to arise between himself and the divine feminine, or he's had some kind of a very painful cutting feminine energy that has been um, just annoying. So he's just resisting because it's like, oh, the last time I tried this, it didn't go so well. But what's really encouraging is the heart space. First of all, I can't get over the amount of pentacles and wands, but the heart space, the overall feeling is the Five of Wands in reverse. So it's no longer struggling against this energy. It's no longer fighting himself. It's no longer stubbornly holding on to this offer that you desperately want to share. Um, and in fact, the niggling feeling countering this Eight of Pentacles in the headspace is the Nine of Pentacles. So this is like the reward after working so hard. And we can see what he's worked hard to do, to integrate divine feminine energy, whether that means to call her back into him or create something for her and give it to her, or just to be in this space where they're free and they have an independence about them so that they can make their own choices and decisions in the material, some aspects like that. Now, we had feathers coming up a lot yesterday in Grace Strega's reading. If you didn't see that on Instagram, on Sundays, I do a live reading with Grace Strega in the afternoon, and it appears now on her page. So you can go rewatch it. It was really, really crazy Lionsgate energy. There were so many Queen of Wands. I think 4 Queen of Wands came up in that reading between all of our decks, and it was pretty interesting. But she used a deck that has feathers instead of swords, and she used it for the masculine energy. And now I'm using the Wild Unknown Tarot, and then here we have the 4 of feathers, which is like interesting 4 of swords energy. So this faith and trust and prayer, the culmination of receiving something that you've prayed for, doing the healing that was necessary, going through the grieving process of feeling like you had lost something and then realizing it could never be stolen from you. Like all of that work. So that's a beautiful countering energy to that headspace, which is feeling that bit of that war going on. Okay. The Five of Pentacles in reverse is clarified by Judgment. Now, this card keeps coming up from this deck. It has the Holy Spirit on it. It's a card of, it's one of the most peaceful in this way, Judgment cards. But then it has this really very intimidating darkness that you have to arise from in order to achieve this peace. And we're, of course, seeing birds in flight, which it's feathers again. God, with these messages. You know how many decks I have now? I got a lot of decks. Incidentally, if you'd like to send me another one, click the description box below. There's an Amazon wish list in there for cards I'm calling in. For this reason precisely, that when we have these random opportunities where I select something, I'm getting the specific messages I need for that day. And in this case, we're even being related to yesterday's reading of this idea of, instead of swords, right, which are pain and strife, we have feathers, which is this, it's like divine angelic kind of intervention. It's like that connection between the headspace and awareness or awakening energy that tunes us into the heart space. Judgment itself is a card about reconciliation, forgiveness, absolution, salvation, and rebirth. And so we see the divine masculine really seeking to return, to be reborn, to be forgiven for this Five of Pentacles energy that has surrounded this connection or this thing that is trying to be manifested at this time. And then we already had this major energy clarified by major energy. Well, it's being clarified again by major energy, which means it's major, major, major energy. And the Fool in reverse being clarified by the Hanged Man in reverse is very poignant imagery because it looks like the Hanged Man, right? So here's the Fool that he's being too cautious, he's suspending himself, he's not moving, and he's doing that because he wants this perspective so that he can make the right moves. Well, now the heart space is showing this Hanged Man energy upright, able to stand on its own. In fact, a bat, this is their natural state, really, to be in this state. So coming out of this foolish energy and actually moving forward. And we also got the Hanged Man in reverse a bunch of times yesterday, it has to be noted. There's also this vampiric energy here, we should probably note. And this like an energy type of vampire as well, like, so a feeling of having been drained and needing to recuperate, um really, in order to be able to have this new beginning, having to have surrender or suspended himself sort of to complete that healing that was necessary to claim the reward, like we saw in that Nine of Pentacles with the feathers. I love these cards. All right, the Ten of Wands upright is being clarified by the Six of, this is Swords, yeah? Yes, the Six of Swords in reverse. So the Six of Swords upright is about learning your lessons. It's about using this, the struggle and strife, to build a bridge from where you were to where you want to go. Seeing like this rainbow is this promise of freedom and hope, and this, you know, that whatever terrible thing has happened will never happen again. And when we get it in its reversal, it's usually just about the fear of the unknown. It's it's a card that's about moving on to something new. Um, but you don't know where you're going. You can't see the other shore yet, so you're not exactly certain where it's going. And when I get a reversal on it, it's usually about that fear. It's a discomfort with this uncertainty. Divine Masculine doesn't know what the fuck is going to happen when he actually communicates Divine Feminine with Divine Feminine about the situation. When he approaches her for this judgment, he's not certain that he's going to get that absolution and rebirth, that he's going to see that brighter shore. There's just uncertainty here. This Knight of Pentacles is being clarified by the Two of Wands, which we already saw in the headspace. It was the overall thought on his mind was this journey and not being able to really go with the plans he's had, really having to throw out those plans that he made and just accept that he needs to face this judgment. It's like now kind of a feeling. The heart space is just clarifying this steady progress that he made when he asked for what it is that he desired and set out on that journey. It's like a reassurance that even though his head is like worried about how long it's taking or about how his plans have been thwarted or he's always had to throw out his plan, his heart is just reassuring him that every detour has been divine, right? Every obstacle has been a divine detour, I think is that card that comes up sometimes. And his heart is fully aware of this. It's like, it's okay that you took your time. This is what it was about. It was about becoming this solid, reliable, stable, like grounded, material individual. Like that is what the spiritual journey has been about. So that resistance that the headspace is feeling to that journey because of its unpredictability, the heart space is fully aware that that is divine. We are getting the Justice card in reverse, and it is clarifying the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. So there's either a legal judgment that was not favorable, or this fear of that happening, this fear that there will be some sort of legal problems or legal issues or legal judgments that will impact Divine Masculine's ability to offer this Two of Cups, like to actually physically come into union. And there's a fear there that that awaiting this judgment or awaiting this justice to be done, waiting for this wheel to turn, is going to cause the feminine energy to block him or be defensive against him. Look at, good morning, hi, I see you there. Look at the roses here forming this almost like a Two of Swords energy. So there's fear here that waiting for this change to happen or this justice to be done will either cause Divine Feminine energy to be defensive, or the weight itself has caused her to be this way. He's just in a lot of fear about that. So when we look at his oracles today, it's going to be about helping to relieve this energy or get him through these fears he's having. But ultimately, we're seeing his desire, what he wants to happen, and we're seeing that this Hanged Man energy that he was in, this really slow moving, cautious energy, it's like judgment day for that type of behavior. It's time now to bring in this justice and have this reunion in this Two of Cups energy, this physical union. All right. Let us look at Divine Feminine's cards. Divine Feminine, you got some cards in union already. Yesterday was so good, and today looks just really resistant. All right, let's take a look. Divine Feminine, top of the deck, overall feeling of the headspace is the 10 of Swords in reverse. And this is an energy that is very much about, let me see. This is very much an energy that is about really having felt stuck and betrayed. Just letting the trucks go by. This is appropriate for this card. Must be something pretty serious. So we have something pretty serious that has taken place, right? Some very, very painful betrayal that has gone on in the past, because we know that this is in its reversal. So it's not something that is currently in the experience. It's releasing the hold this energy has over the divine feminine that we see going on right now. She is thinking about how to become unstuck from the past feelings of betrayal. So her overall focus is wanting to end this painful separation, this from the masculine energy most likely, or from the thing it is that she's been trying to cultivate, create, etc. The niggling thing in the back of her mind is the Two of Pentacles upright. So she's been juggling something back and forth. Now, if we're looking at her thinking overall about the end of separation, then I'm guessing that we're probably juggling back and forth between like this energetic shuffle between the masculine and feminine energy. So maybe there has been some kind of communication back and forth, or there's this return to that sort of lopsided dynamic that is unpleasant for divine feminine. This sense we have over here that divine masculine had in the heart space, that the scales aren't balanced still. So while she feels the end of separation is possible, this niggling thing in the back of her mind is one that is sort of like, you know, is it, isn't it, is it, isn't it? I don't know. Like my experiences in the past, not so pleasant, right? So she's being a little bit too much in the headspace, kind of like going back and forth on the reality, whether or not this is actually becoming material, actually grounding. And I sense it's a little uncomfortable. The first thing on her mind is the Five of Swords in reverse. So she's not willing to accept defeat. She's maybe felt defeated or like walking away from these things in the past because of the pain that she was in, or because of the headspace that she always ends up going into whenever she tries to engage or like be in this back and forth energy with this masculine energy. So we do see her having worked really hard and deciding that she's not willing to walk away from the potential end of this separation. She's still here. She's still holding on. And it's this willingness not to run, not to enter into the runner chaser dynamic, that is bringing her into the same energy divine masculine was in, we saw already, into this Five of Wands in reverse. So they're not fighting against themselves anymore, which means they're not fighting one another, right? She's not just taken those three swords from that heartbreak and walked away and made that decision and that Two of Swords energy to just walk away. She's not done that. She's taken the Three of Swords, analyzed it, and decided, you know, this changed me, this altered me, this made me have more clarity, this gave me more information about what I want that will make me feel whole, make me feel good. So she definitely has unblocked. I mean, to see the 10 of Swords in reverse and the 5 of Wands and the 5 of Swords in reverse is a divine feminine that has become unstuck. And divine masculine matches her. The next thing on her mind was on divine masculine's mind. The Knight of Pentacles, but for divine feminine, it is in its reverse. Now, in this Knight of Pentacles, both of these cards, they have given us this green, abundant sort of energy that's also got a lot of light in it. And it's a frustrating energy because it's so slow moving. Like, it's just the slowest moving energy in the deck. But it is moving, it is motion, and it is plodding forward, and it is methodical. And it comes with an incredibly stable offer. Now, this masculine energy, we see this was his journey, right? To understand that it takes that work, that slow moving, hard working, determined, methodical planning energy to actually achieve a sense of worthiness, to be able to leave that lack mentality behind. And for divine masculine, that is what the twin flame journey was about. Being able to solidly, steadily believe in yourself and make that motion towards what it is you desire, the material fulfillment of something that you desire. So divine feminine is like, it's like having learned that receiving a pentacle from a slow moving knight is preferable to receiving a wand from a Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands brings you a torch that burns out. The Knight of Pentacles offers you this solid, abundant pentacle. It doesn't go away, right? It doesn't burn out. So divine feminine is understanding that while that slow moving energy has been uncomfortable, she's no longer resisting it. There's no more the 5 of Swords and the 5 of Wands in reverse. There's no more resistance to this slow moving energy. And she's no longer stuck in this 2 of Swords energy. She's making a choice. And the choice is union, 3 of Cups, celebration, happiness, like the fulfillment. She's choosing friendship. She's choosing to be playful, to have fun, to not be stuck anymore in this mentality of separation and block herself from what it is she desires. And the final card, we have the Lovers in reverse. Now, what's really interesting is we basically ended divine masculine's heart space this way with the 2 of Cups in reverse. And for divine feminine, I think what we're seeing here is her fear of third-party energy. We saw that coming up in Grace Strago reading yesterday, where that fear of third-party energy was holding her back from actually being able to manifest. So she's embracing this energy of love and harmony and union and dating and, and companionship. She's embracing that. She's not rejecting it anymore. There might be a delay, but she's awaiting the union that is her heart's desire. She's not looking for energy that is like not solid, not reliable, not stable. Let's look at her heart space. Top of the deck, overall feeling of the heart space, the Devil. We're using the Star Spitter Tarot. And the devil is truly Lucifer in this deck, the light bringer, the fallen angel. And it's interesting because we don't have any of the like normal like positioning. Instead, we have these victims here of the codependency and bondage, and they're sort of parallel to one another. And it's like they're not chained to each other, they're chained to other things, so they can't be together. And there's this devil that is like, it's almost like the opposite of divine protection, right? It's like it's like the devil is keeping them from being unbound. It's like being protected. That part, that the separation itself is almost feeling protected. And divine feminine is, that's why in her headspace she's feeling all of these fears and anxieties and trying to release them, trying to release the hold that this devil energy has over her, to keep her in this bondage where all she can think about is the pain and the separation and things not working out and third party energy stuff that she's worried is happening. She's really in her headspace doing her best she can to release the hold that this has over her, but her heart space does have this overall feeling of fear, anxiety, bondage kind of going on, and not in a good way. The niggling thing is really profound. It is the Empress, and in this deck, it's looking like she's holding a wand, which is calling us to think about that Queen of Wands energy. She's also wearing this crown of stars. There's this cosmic element to this Empress energy that we don't normally see. So this Empress is surely strong enough to face off this devil energy. And she's maintaining that sense of herself, knowing what she's worth, knowing her value, knowing her potential to be abundant, to be fertile, to be creative, and countering that focus or obsession on masculine energy or the union or the separation with this reassurance that whatever happens, at heart, she is the Empress. She is the divine feminine. And then look at this. The first thing on divine masculine's mind was the Five of Pentacles in reverse. And the first thing in divine feminine's heart space is the Five of Pentacles in reverse. We love that union because that is both of them moving out of this place of lack. And that is clarifying this Five of Swords in reverse energy for her. So she is not going to be defeated by these past feelings of lack or this broken mirror reflection thing that was going on for her, where she kept looking outside of herself to see where the lack was and was using that to avoid this inner child that she really needed to give her attention to. It was like she was feeling a lack of attention, but it was actually her own self that she was neglecting. And so she's done that work. She's not defeated by this pattern that has existed. And it's also about that mirrored twin flame, that painful process, that misalignment, or reflecting back to one another misalignment. She is moving out of that feeling like she's left in the cold energy. And then we have the King of Cups. And this is clarifying the Five of Wands in reverse. So she feels in her heart space that divine masculine energy, kind, compassionate, loving, sensitive, psychic, just, honorable, noble, brave, etc. She feels so much love and compassion for the masculine energy. She feels like that has become unblocked. And she's hoping that what is keeping masculine from expressing to her fully will become unblocked as well. But she's definitely experiencing a king that, while he is loving, is silent and not expressing to her his true feelings. and thoughts outside of maybe an indirect kind of like having to like read his face or read his social media type of a thing. The Knight of Pentacles in reverse, this has been extremely difficult for Divine Feminine. Here's the Nine of Swords. We keep seeing this card. This is like sleep paralysis here, like being like analysis paralysis. And this demon energy, again, that devil energy, right? Being her own mind, sort of playing these tricks on her. And while she's had to wait for this energy to pick up this speed, creating all of these stories that keep her in this bondage of separation, that keep her in the illusion that they are separate when they really are not. And so she's really been struggling with the time that it takes for her to receive what it is she desires, and having to wait during that interim and be in that headspace, kind of sabotaging herself by focusing constantly on how long it's taking. It's like she's the kid in the back seat of the car that's like, are we there? Are we there? Are we there yet? And, you know, Divine Masculine is driving and he's like, soon. And then like a few seconds later, she's like, okay, but like, are we there now? And Divine Masculine is like, no, you'll know when we get there. Like, I'll slow the car down. We'll come to a stop, you know, because he's irritated at this point because she keeps being like, are we there yet? But children ask, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Because their sense of time hasn't fully formed yet, because time is something we have to learn. And so they have just this huge void of unknowing. When you tell a child 15 minutes, their concept of 15 minutes is still in development. So 15 minutes to a child feels like 15 years to you because they don't have the same sense of time passing. And so the best way to deal with that is to distract them, because you know that you're going to get there. So if you're like, okay, well, I'm just going to keep them happy while they're in the back seat so that they stop asking me how long it's going to be, because like it's going to be how long it's going to be. It doesn't matter. Like literally we'll get there, right? And that's the energy of the Emperor who's driving, who's like doing all these things to try to distract the Divine Feminine, which is coming off as being kind of a controlling energy, because he knows approximately how long it's going to take. But when he tells Divine Feminine that length of time, it doesn't seem to matter. Like if you say to a kid, it's going to be an hour, a few minutes later, it's like, is it been an hour? No, it's not been an hour. But they can't tell time. They can't see the clock. Divine Masculine can see the clock. So he's ultimately in control. Now, we have the Emperor and the Empress. So we know we have a Divine Masculine and Feminine energy that are truly connected, that these are counterparts to one another. And they are also in the lights of that energy. This is clarifying the decision she's made. She's chosen the Divine Masculine energy, which is how we know that this Three of Cups is not a third-party energy, but is actually the union itself, because there he is. And this, just in case you're not sure, is being clarified by the world, and it's me on top of the world. And that's choosing the Divine Masculine, choosing the divine counterpart, choosing to come into union and to celebrate that union and to complete the cycle, to achieve the desire. Which, what was the desire? Well, just in case you weren't sure what the desire was, this Lover's in reverse that Divine Feminine has but doesn't have quite yet, because she's having to wait for that slow-moving Knight of Pentacles energy. Here it is, the Lover's upright. And this deck actually has multiple Lovers cards in it. And this is the one that has a feminine and masculine counterpart that appear as such in gender identity. Some of the other cards do not. Some of them have two females, two males, etc. This is the card that does have androgynous looking, but for sure masculine, feminine energy. So we do know that this is counterpart energy, that this is probably twin flame energy, and that the heart space knows full well, despite fears, anxieties, and worries about how long it has taken, that this masculine is going to come and claim his divine feminine energy and be together. All right, let's go now and look at the oracles. Actually, no, just kidding. Let's do the sexual energy for the union. Divine masculine, we will start with you. All right. So, sexual energy is sexual energy, but also Kundalini energy, creative energy, the desire to create things, make things, etc. If you're talking about this in terms of a relationship, for divine masculine, we are getting the Death card in reverse, which is interesting, and the Eight of Wands in reverse. So this is top and bottom of the deck is usually how I do the sexual energy. Well, like that's not true. It's like I shuffle whatever card comes out, and the bottom of the deck is what I do actually, to clarify. But the Death card in reverse for me is about well, it can be about resisting transformation. It's very interesting that in this card, we're seeing a hand, a skeletal hand, holding a rose, and that when it's in its reversal, it's appearing like this. It could be plucking the rose, and the little death type of a thing, and this is sort of like releasing it. So it's interesting. I think divine masculine is resisting this transformative energy that will allow him to go with the flow. This Eight of Wands, like there's a feeling of wanting to be able to rebirth. I feel like that. I feel like there's been a dry spell, and there's still a dry spell happening. He's not going to give this little death to anyone else, sort of a thing. So he's resisting the motion towards this transformation. There's fear there, I think, also about potentially ending something if he engages in sexual energy. So he's not doing it. Divine feminine. Wait, how would this be? That would be the bottom of the deck. Okay, like this. You are getting the Prince of Cups or the Knight of Cups in reverse, and the Ace of Swords. Now look at, you're holding the flower, the rose in this feminine energy. So you are feeling you're being, the Ace of Swords is about having new ideas, new thoughts, new awareness. Maybe this could be even about like new fantasies. The Knight of Cups is an energy that's very able to express love, and but is also wishy-washy. So there's a feeling here that you have this clarity about how you don't want to engage with energy that's not going to stick around. So you are holding your own rose. You're kind of in the same energy. You're like not giving it up to any energy that's not going to be able to come in and really truly reciprocate your energy. And that's because of the Three of Swords, because this heartbreak that you think would come from potentially engaging with any other energy at this point. And you also probably have some deep wounds that you're needing to heal on your own so that you can kind of restore this sexual expression for yourself. Like there could have been some sort of a trauma that happened that has made you feel like you aren't able to fully receive physical affection at this point, and you're working really on creating a new ideas about yourself that allow you to be more receptive to sexual energy. So you're both working on transforming. Okay, now we'll look at the oracles for divine masculine. Divine masculine, you are in the light traits of the trickster energy. So you are no longer manipulating others through duplicity. Now you are transcending convention, stuffiness, and predictable behavior. And we see your machinations like this stuff in your headspace where you were trying to plan and strategize and make things happen, make things for the divine feminine, make her stay by your, wits or whatever. You're not doing that. Now you're maybe planning a surprise or having like this light energy about how you're being clever. You're doing things in a clever way, but you're honoring the feminine energy in that behavior. Your retreat card, you've been on some kind of a retreat, some kind of a vacation. It's time to end that vacation, or it might be that it just is the end. Like, it's time. The Two of Wands is in reverse for you. So you do know it's time. You've been on a holiday. You've retreated into yourself. You might have actually gone on some kind of a vacation, and the vacation is over. It's time to come back and actually start to connect. Be bold and make the first move, divine masculine. It is clear that you really do need to do this. It's time to take action with an emphasis and the Aries energy here of like just ramming through those obstacles, right? Be bold. There's no one more bold than an Aries. So to get these two cards and this really strong message of like, it's past time to take action, buddy, do it. And that action is aligning your life. What needs to change? You saw what needed to change. The imbalance that divine feminine is carrying the heavier load here, right? This imbalance needs to change. So change it, buddy. I'm going to turn these upside down for you so you can actually experience that change symbolically. And then you are getting soul family. Call in your tribe. You don't have to do it alone. This is so clear to me. You can't do it alone. You need your twin, right? You need your counterpart. This isn't a burden that you need to bear alone. And you've been given help. It's like the story I always tell. You're in the ocean and you're drowning and you're like, please, God, save me. And God sends you the divine feminine counterpart. And you're like, oh, it's okay. God's going to save me. And God's like, no, I sent you help. Take it. I sent your soul tribe. When you were young, you had some kind of a traumatic event. You were alone and you were terrified, and you had like an option to call in a soul tribe member, and you did. And you don't have to do this alone, precisely because you asked that you wouldn't have to. And then we're getting freaking Hanged Man energy in reverse, okay? So we got the Hanged Man in reverse yesterday 2 times. We got it again today. We're getting it again with this watch and wait stuff. And with the retreat card, this is like, buddy, stop watching. Stop waiting. Make the move. Take the action. Do the thing. Do the motherfucking thing. Like, I'm going to hire Samuel L. Jackson to like call you and like get you fired up and get your ass out here. Divine feminine, let's look at your energy. Divine feminine, you are in the light of the femme fatale. I know. Thank you. I feel very seductive. Highlighting the erotic energy of the feminine opens your heart when your dependency is rejected. I do not know what was being said in the chat, but I definitely got trolled today. I'm sure that there was some lascivious things said about me, for sure, because of my sensual energy. I'm exuding it. I feel very much in alignment inside of self. I feel very much in charge of that feminine energy, even though my dependency has often been rejected. So stay in that light, divine feminine. Stay in the place where you're not attached to money and power, but you're just enjoying like the sensual experience of that feminine energy. You are getting an emphasis on this message from your guardian angel that heaven is watching over you with that gentle, loving, but fierce protection of that mothering energy. And there might be a call for you to do some healing in that space if you still are having wounds experienced, like mother wounds, which all I can think of now is Mother Boy from Arrested Development. Oh my God. But yeah, so go heal your mother wounds. Adjustments are required. If there are adjustments required, I would say it has to do with that. Nurturing yourself, caring for yourself, being your own mothering energy, this empress energy, this divine feminine that's within you, really cultivating on that and feeling how that comes from the divine, and you truly are held, supported, and loved. And then you are getting, where are you being called to journey to? So this has a Six of Swords kind of a feeling, which we already got in reverse. And now it's coming out for divine feminine with a reverse kind of an energy. So it might just be the same sort of thing, that you have an uncertainty, maybe in the way that like at the end, or not at the end, in the Disney movie Tangled, when Rapunzel is in the boat with the prince and she's like, or not the prince, whatever, I don't know, the dude. And she's like, she gets what she wants and suddenly she gets afraid. And he's like, what's the matter? And she's like, all I've ever wanted was to see these fireworks over, like, that's all I've ever wanted. And now I'm doing it. And like, what do I do now? And he's like, oh, you just have a new dream. Like, you just have another one. She's like, what? So I think divine feminine has a little bit of a fear of like, okay, well, this happens now. Now what? Where am I being called to journey to? I thought I was being called to journey to this divine masculine, but now as I took that journey, I realized no, I was being called to into myself, and that once I arrived there, then I would be able to receive whatever it was I wanted. But now, if I've done that, then like, what is next? And it's like, well, you'll always be on that journey, right? The Red Sea, man. Like, they forgot about the Red Sea in a day. Like 24 hours later, they were like, you know, who cares about that guy? He wasn't that impressive. We're going to go back to the golden calf god. That golden calf god seemed like, you know, sweet deal. Like, it just took a day before they forgot that the Red Sea was parted by God, you know? So it's about constantly having to remember that journey, having to come back. And this person was your excuse for learning about the journey, but you're always going to be called to that union with self, and that's going to keep revealing to you where you need to go next. You're getting dove spirit. Be peace. Be peace. And we already saw the dove over here. If you can be peaceful, divine feminine, this is what divine masculine is seeking from you. Peace. He's afraid that you don't mean peace. He's afraid you mean war. Maybe he'll feel better when he sees your war cards are like out the door. Your Five of Swords, your Five of Wands. You're not at war. You are actually in a peaceful headspace. All right. For the union, this is what you are in union in regards to. You are both in union in the mystic energy, which is reveling in an intimate union with the divine. So there's two layers to this. There is the overall spiritual layer that is like when you read a Rumi poem and you think it's about love, but really it's about God. That is what you both have accomplished. You've become like a Rumi poem. It is like you're writing this music for each other, but really you're writing music for that is about God's love. And so you're reveling in that intimate union. It's allowing you to be reveling in an intimate union in the physical and in the spiritual, but ultimately it's about that relationship with divine energy itself. Saint Bernadette is here to help you believe in this union. You only need to believe in yourselves and believe in your calling and believe in what you have asked for to receive it. And if you have trouble, you literally have Saint Hildegard von Bingen helping you. And she was a fierce queen. She read, she wrote, she made music. She was the first female leader of a convent. Like, she did some serious shit. You're very close to achieving your goal is in reverse. To me, that is you have achieved your goal. You've already succeeded. When I started communicating with this person that is considering managing me, that was what they said to me. They were like, you've already succeeded. And that message is hard to accept sometimes because we keep pushing ourselves. But really, you have accomplished what it is that you set out to accomplish. And then we're getting Sisterhood of the Rose, beauty and devotion, priestess, mystic, and teacher. That's twice you're getting this mystic energy. I think that there is there might be just some resistance still to fully integrating this priestess energy. Like, it might still be something that you're both afraid of, like fully embracing your magical powers that you have. There's something about that needs to be looked at or aligned, like not being afraid of the true power that you actually possess. And Buffalo Spirit, the abundant universe will provide. This is just trusting that you have asked for something and that your natural state is well being and that all of the abundance you have asked for is provided. And all you have to do is step out of the way, get out of that headspace that keeps you stuck, that keeps you paralyzed and unable to finally receive that abundance that has been on its way all along, right? Both of you. This is what you're in union about. Just trust, believe that this abundant universe will provide for you. All right, very quickly, let us close out the reading with some cards that help us do what we need to do, just like minor things that we should do today that will help us with this energy that we saw coming up in the reading. Thanks so much for being here today. Please click like, subscribe, share, help get my channel out there. If you are interested in a personal reading, you can go to pearlsprayers.com. All the information you need is there. The links down below in the description box. And this week I am here on Wednesday and Friday. On Wednesday, we're going to do obstacles removed spread. On Friday, we will do release and rebuild. And then on Sunday, I will be on Instagram Live again with Grace Striga. All right, so we're going to pull a couple of cards here. What can the Divine Masculine do today that will help him come into alignment so that he can get what it is that he truly desires? And also Divine Feminine, what can she do today? Fine, I'll allow a third card. And there we go. Okay. Guess you're getting 6 cards, Divine Feminine. It's greedy today. Let's look at Divine Masculine energy. All right, Divine Masculine, you are getting keys on a ring, many options, decision, unconventional, string along, and one night stand. Girl with a snake in reverse. This is empath and narcissist paradigm, being charmed or used, enable, and boundaries. And love call. Someone expresses love, a message of love, thinking of you and letting you know. And then you are also getting, because you got a lot of cards for some reason, the Ace of Pentacles and the Eight of Wands. So, I know we said minor stuff, divine masculine, but what I'm seeing here is that you have many options. You have a decision to make. You can continue to string along divine feminine energy, or you can release this empath and narcissist paradigm that you have been engaging in. And the only way that you will be able to do that is by calling the divine feminine and expressing to her that you are thinking of her and letting her know. And that's literally all you need to say. And that in and of itself is a significant offer. This is the Ace of Pentacles. And then you're getting, just to confirm that, the Eight of Wands, and it's upright. That there is this motion, despite your energy here, that you're resisting this motion. You are resisting this transformation. You are resisting this little death because of your fears, probably about sexual union and intimacy. So if you can just overcome that today, the minor thing you have to do is just choose to tell divine feminine how you feel, and that you have a serious offer here that you would like to make her of consistent attention. Okay, go do that. Everyone will be thrilled. Okay, freaking thrilled. Divine feminine, you are getting also a lot of cards. It's funny because you did not show your cards today, and you got Hand of Cards in reverse, which says take a chance, risk, being strategic, options, not showing hand, and gambling. Palm Tree, you got stability, security, permanence, growth, endurance, flexibility. And then you got the Dragonfly in reverse, be lighthearted, finding out, things coming to light, adapt, change, and heal. You also got the Fox, the Snake, and the Birds, or also the Seven of Pentacles, Ace of Wands, and the Nine of Wands. Okay, so here you go. You got so much stuff for me to say to you today. Divine feminine, you have not been showing your hand. You instead have been focusing on your stability, security, and growth. And you are doing that, and you should continue doing that, because this information that you need regarding this outside energy, the snake energy, which is basically like whatever has been causing the separation, that information is not yet coming to light for you. And really, until it does, you just have to focus on your work and your own stability, your own growth, and just continue not to show your hand. There's really no need for you to. You laid out all your cards at some point in time. You put your cards down and you said, this is the situation. This is how it is. Here's my number. Call me if you want me. Okay? There's really nothing more to be said. The divine is in agreement with that decision. Continue not to show your cards. Focus on your growth and understand that this healing that's taking place right now, while that's happening, what is hidden is coming to the surface, and you will see these messages. This is here, the Eight of Wands. You'll hear all about this empath narcissist paradigm and what caused it, and the strategizing that took place, the cleverness, if there was third party energy, whatever it is that's been going on, you'll hear all about it. But for now, just focus on your own stability today. If you can do that, then if you're not pressuring that masculine energy to tell you what happened, or just tell me, is it somebody, blah, 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 blah. If you are just not focused on needing that information in order to be whole and focused on your own stability and growth, divine masculine is going to feel less intimidated about talking to you about what is blocking your connection. So if you would like to know why that Two of Cups is in reverse for him, if you would like to know why there has been an imbalance, divine feminine, then you need to let go of the need to know that today and focus instead on the stability of the situation as it is growing. You'll know. You'll find out when you're meant to. It will all make sense. All right, the bottom of the deck for the two of you. Okay. I'm going to actually, I just pulled the bottom, but then the cards underneath are important too, so we're going to do the whole thing. But you're getting the 10 of Wands, the Chaser, and the Birch Rod, or the Whip, which is sexual energy. This is Ace of Wands energy. So Divine Masculine right now is chasing Divine Feminine energy because he wants to unburden himself. He is feeling a physical pull. There's a physical reason. We're seeing him resisting it though, right? He's being careful. He's resisting this sexual energy as much as he possibly can, but he's really feeling that pull and he's dealing with that pull. Divine Feminine feels the same. She is not in her chaser energy though. She is also not in her runner energy at this point. She's there. She's being chased and she's like, I'm here. I'm not running. And Divine Masculine is like, I love you. I want to be with you. And she's like, I know. I heard you. I'm right here. I'm standing in front of you. Divine Masculine is like, okay. Underneath those cards, we got the 9 of Pentacles, the Not Today card in reverse, and the Stork. So Divine Masculine, he's releasing his attachment to outcomes. And he's not avoiding stuff anymore. And Divine Feminine is opening up to that fresh start, that new beginning with the Divine Masculine. So ultimately, things are going well. Things are going well. I think we're going to be all right. Just hang in there. All right. I will see you again on Wednesday when we will go ahead and take a look at the obstacles that are currently in our energy and how we can remove them. And then again, Friday, release and rebuild. Thank you so much for being here today. I shall see you on Wednesday. Have the best day.